Hey guys, Dave here getting into outdoors. I know it's been a minute since I've done a repair video on the Sportspal. Tells me one thing, you guys are way too gentle on your stuff. Keep that way. This guy here wasn't. Bent nose. How's that happen? Well, typically that happens when you back into something really hard, like a barn, a tree, a rock, the mother-in-law, you know, something really stiff and solid that can flatten that right out. There's a couple ways. I've shown how to straighten this from the inside with a 2x4 and a hammer and just beat the stuffing out of it. But this one here, I'm going to actually change nose stem, because sometimes that has to happen. And when you guys order a nose stem, I'd like to show you how it's actually stuck on there. So let's do it. These screws here, they got to come out. There's some underneath the sealant under here as well. There could be some sporadically up there. I'm going to remove the nose stem, the handle. Also going to pop the deck off. Maybe. Haven't decided. See where I get to. So you're just going to find all your screw heads here. Pop them out of there. There are screws underneath there. You're going to use something like this to cut that sealant all the way along. Be very careful. Unless you are in need of a tetanus shot like I am. A razor probably works better than a Bowie knife, but you know. Now I got the sealant cut along the edge, so I drove that old toad sticker right in there. I'm just going to keep smacking her into the spot. I got all the screws out. I'm looking for is just some movement out of that nose, so I can get a grip on it. And be careful not to drive that knife through the hull of the canoe, as I am so careful. So I could be getting a repair kit for free if I'm not careful. Forgot something. I had to take that thing out. Alright, this is the guy we're after. So I'm just going to take a drill slightly bigger than kind of what I'm looking for right there. Should be wearing gloves unless you're up to date on your tetanus shot, like I'm not. I decided to take the nose stem off. Nose cap, sorry, just to give me a little better access to the top of this. Because look, I wasn't going to get those out without removing those rivets. All right. Gently take that out of there. And all I'm doing is sawing that all out. Then I got to clean all this stuff off of there so I can put the new nose stem on there. Try and get that straight, that crinkle out of there. So we do have a little crinkle right here. You can get a chunk of steel in behind. I don't like doing that, hammering out the little crinkles. If you have two pieces of steel, it's going to thin out your aluminum in the middle. I always prefer a wooden block. Let's see if I can get this in here with my hand. Okay, now from the inside I did see a little bit of daylight right here, so I have to make sure that I do get this little pinhole sealed. I'm going to seal it inside and outside with just a little button patch. You've seen it on previous videos if you've been following. If not, back there and check it out. I did cheat. I took the wire wheel to get rid of most of the big chunks of sealant. And now for the next step is going to be prepping it for the nose. The sealant that we use is this. It's called Adthane Marine Sealant. It's available at, if you email info@bwmarineproducts.com or check out Baywood Marine, they'll get you some of this stuff. It's the only stuff that sticks. You try silicone, bear grease, pine tar, window caulking, it'll peel right off. Getting something to stick to this aluminum, this is the stuff, and you have to make sure it's clean. So I have this special green juice we use. It's basically a degreaser. It preps it for the surface to be nice and tidy. I am going to put a little bit on a scratch pad just for my new nose stem, because I want it scratched up, roughed up a little bit so that the surface is just mildly scored. Get rid of any oils that could have came from the processing. And this rag looks dirty. It is a clean rag, just one we use in the paint area. So worst thing on it would be some paint thinner, which will be just fine. Now I'm gonna put a little bit of this sloppy stuff on here. Right where that hole is, I'll make sure it's clean as well. Where's my little scratcher? Same story. I want to make sure I give it a nice little scratch. This will get rid of any oils or grease or anything that happens to be on it. I'm going to hit the inside as well. I didn't remove every bit of sealant from the inside, as I did cut the outer edge away, so I know I have a clean working surface on the inside. I think I have a mosquito biting me on the back of the head. I'm going to put some sealant up in the nose. This is the same stuff, just we get it in bigger ones for the assembly process. So I start about an inch or two from the end. I just want to put a nice bead in here, all the way down. Put too much, it's just going to smear all over, make a mess. But I do want it to, as I get down to the bottom, I am going to make sure that this entire little pocket is full. So. This is bent a little bit, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of, I'm going to get sticky as hell doing this, I guarantee it. Where to put those screws? Oh, they're right on. So I want to tap up. I want to make sure I'm flush or not. Matter of fact, I prefer if I don't. Make sure I'm pushing her in tight. Make sure it actually grabs the sheet and tightens her up. All right. about every inch or so along the bottom. I want to make sure that I have plenty of meat attached down here. Now I got to smear all that stuff around. So I'm going to use this here. You don't have to use this here. This is just an angled piece of scrap rubber cut on an angle to kind of match the nose. And this is what is known in the industry as a wet rag. Now, wet rag is just to tap it down, make sure that it's all the way around the screw. So the screws here, this is just to tap the sealant all the way around the screws, so there's nothing exposed. And it keeps, well, the idea is it keeps the dope off your fingers too. Outside. Now, I want to make sure that I'm pushing the sealant up into that crack while allowing it to overflow. Basically, you're making a weld on this thing. I want to make sure that anywhere there's a screw, it's covered. Take my wet rag, tap it down all around that little button patch I just put on. Trying to reduce the ugly. This here is what we know as a sharp stake. So all I'm doing is swirling to make sure I'm covering all the way around my screw heads. So when I tap it down, I know it has got a seal around each and every screw, inside and out. Back to the wet rag game. If you don't have a wet rag, all this is going to stick like you wouldn't believe. So the same idea, I want to make sure that I got my screws covered. And with the wet rag, you can actually move this stuff around a little bit. So I'm pushing it up into that seam so that I'm sealed inside and out. The sealant is a bit tricky because the more you play with it, the uglier it becomes. So the more you tap it, the wider that seam's going to get. The wider it gets, the thinner it becomes. So now I got my little button patch tapped down. I got that inside and outside sealed up, tapped down. Tomorrow I'm going to do some touch-up paint and I'll put that nose cap back on in the morning. So get a good night's sleep. I'll see you tomorrow. Quick shot of primer. That'll help the paint stick to the bare aluminum a little better. Touch up. All right, let's finish her up with some stripes. And fix the band-aids up. Nose cap going back on. Rivets. All right, so there's some rhinoplasty surgery from getting any outdoors at the Sportspal Canoe Factory. So just way to show you guys how to change that nose stem. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, share, like, all that stuff. You know, somebody that needs a nose job, I'm your guy. All right, thanks. Till next time.